Acumatica has had a native integration with Amazon for a while now, but it's been in what we call managed availability. Really, all that means is that our engineers have been involved in every one of those implementations to make sure that, number one, our native integration to Amazon does the things that our customers need, and working directly with customers, it gave us an opportunity to fine-tune the system and make it a smoother and more automated tool for these merchants. Every single Amazon merchant that we spoke with had very similar challenges. In the beginning, we thought that these merchants were going to want to export all their product information like titles and descriptions and so on out to Amazon. But that's not what we learned. When we talked to these Amazon merchants, they helped us understand that all of their challenges were really around accounting. Things like reconciling statements, understanding the Amazon fees, truly understanding their profitability on the products that they sold on Amazon. These were the problems that merchants were facing, and these were the kinds of challenges that they wanted us to solve with our solution. And that's what we've done. Now, I mentioned it was in managed availability in the past. Now, with 24R1, the Amazon connector is included in Acumatica's core. Okay, so what I want to do today is I want to talk through all the features and functionality that is included with the Amazon connector. We won't get into everything, but the highlights, the things that I'm frequently asked about. First of all, let's talk through what is connected between the two systems. So, number one, we're covering Amazon FBA and FBM. Those acronyms, they stand for Fulfilled by Amazon and Fulfilled by Merchant. They're the two different ways that you can sell on Amazon. The first thing is we're linking products. So Acumatica is going to go out to the merchant's Amazon account, and it's going to scan through all the different inventory items. It's going to find those what are called ASINs, ASIN numbers. These are similar to SKUs. It's going to find those ASINs and then match them to inventory IDs inside of Acumatica. And that is going to establish a link. The reason that that's important is because those products that are being sold via FBM, the ones that the merchants have to fulfill, with that link, you're able to export your product availability from Acumatica out to Amazon. So now, whenever merchants are selling products on Amazon along with other online marketplaces and e-commerce sites, you're able to consistently be sending inventory levels out to Amazon so that you know that your inventory levels are accurate. Of course, we're importing FBA orders and FBM orders. When the merchant is fulfilling the orders, of course, you're going to have a shipment with a tracking number, and we're sending that information back to Amazon. We're pulling the Amazon payments into Acumatica, and we're also pulling in the Amazon fees. That includes order-related fees and non-order related fees. Plus, we've added a lot of features that will encrypt customer data and protect the customer PII. PII stands for Personal Identifiable Information. Now, the Amazon connector today, it supports merchants that are in the US, Canada, Mexico, and the UK. We're in the final stages of wrapping up the UK right now. But really, the Amazon connector, it'll work with any region that Amazon supports. It's just that we need to work with customers selling in those regions so that we can test the functionality out. Amazon doesn't offer any test environments or dev environments, and they don't give us access to environments in these different regions. So we need to work with customers so we can understand the intricate details of how taxes are handled and how other specific use cases are handled in those different regions. But if you're a merchant that's not using Acumatica today, or maybe you are using Acumatica and you want to connect to Amazon and you're selling in one of those other regions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can work with you on that. Okay, so let's talk through the details of the connector itself. First, we have an app on the Amazon Seller Partner App Store. Basically, this is where all the apps are that extend Amazon Seller Central. You can see the URL here and the QR code. You can use those to get directly to our App Store listing. And that App Store listing is where you initiate the connection between Amazon and Acumatica. Once you click the Connect Now button, you're going to be prompted with a window where you log into the ERP and establish the connection through a technology called OAuth. Once that's been established, then inside of Acumatica, you'll find your Amazon store. And inside the Amazon store, that's where you're going to configure all your default settings. Now, this is standard. If you've been through an implementation with our Shopify connector or BigCommerce connector before, you're going to feel very familiar with these windows. If you're not familiar with those windows, let me explain. So our connectors, all of our connectors, are built on the same framework, which means that the windows and the features that are used in order to establish these connections are very similar. And you can set these different configurations on a per store level. So for instance, maybe you're selling on Shopify and you actually have 20 different Shopify sites. Well, each one of those Shopify sites can be configured uniquely. The same is true with Amazon. So we have merchants that sell in multiple different regions, and they may need unique configurations for each of those different regions. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is turn on the entities that you need. The entities are the data points that are syncing between the two systems. As you can see here, you have the product linking, which I explained a minute ago, product availability, that's sending your inventory levels out to Amazon for FBM items. Your sales orders, they represent the FBM orders that are coming in, as well as marketplace fulfilled orders. These are the Amazon fulfilled orders, FBA orders. You have the payments entity. This is going to include the fees. And then there's a new entity for non-order related fees. And we also have shipments. So each of these entities is its own unique entity. So you could turn on half of these and leave the others off if that was appropriate for you. You also have the ability to adjust the sync direction and the primary system, the ERP or Amazon itself. Now, what you see in this screenshot is just how we have our demo environment configured. If it was appropriate for you, you could change some of these settings. Now, let's talk about the order settings. One thing I want to point out is FBA orders and FBM orders, they're two different concepts. So really, if you're selling an item via FBA, Amazon's going to take care of all the fulfillment for you. There's no work for you to do, but you do need to record that order as an invoice inside the system. So those marketplace fulfilled orders are going to be associated with a sales order type of using the invoice template. Okay, and the FBM orders, they're just like standard orders, just like orders coming from any other online sales channel or even orders that you're putting into the ERP over the phone. Those are going to be sales orders of a standard sales order type. And you can set up a unique order type specifically for Amazon if you want. Now, the next thing is setting up your Amazon inventory warehouse. So when you send all of your inventory to Amazon, they hold on to it to you. And if you sell on Amazon, you know it's very common for them to move a fraction of your inventory to a different warehouse. Sometimes your inventory disappears for a few days and then it comes back. But there's also cases where, you know, inventory gets damaged or lost, right? So what we've done is we allow you to set up a virtual warehouse inside of Acumatica, and that's where your inventory goes that represents the inventory being held by Amazon. And as orders come in, as those FBA orders come in, you're going to decrement that virtual warehouse's inventory levels. Then whenever you get statements from Amazon that says, we have X number of items in stock, you can match that up with what's in your virtual warehouse. And if there's a discrepancy, you know that there's either a challenge that you need to take care of, or it's maybe one of those instances where they're moving your inventory around. It's just not available for sale right now. But these features are going to help you reconcile your FBA inventory. Additionally, when you're selling FBM items, you might offer gift wrapping services, or maybe you offer expedited shipping. These are line items that can be sold that are going to be associated with non-stock items inside the ERP, and you can configure the system to map those different services to those non-stock items here inside the order settings window. Now let's talk about the payment settings. So as I mentioned before, not only are we pulling in the payments from Amazon, but we're also pulling in all the order and non-order related fees. And when we pull those fees into Acumatica, we allow you to map each of the different fees to entry types inside of the general ledger. Amazon has the last time I checked, it was over 35 different fees that they charge to their merchants. And it may be really important for you to understand where you're spending a lot of money on these different fees. For instance, maybe you're getting hit with a lot of storage charges. Maybe some of your items are odd size and Amazon's charging you extra. Well, by being able to map these to entry types, you can pull reports to understand where your money's really going. Not only that, you have a good understanding of where Amazon's charging you for each of these different sales. Now, just in summary, we have different settings for FBA orders and FBM orders. Like I mentioned, gift wrapping is supported for FBM. Also, there's the merchant shipping that's supported. I didn't mention before, but we also support Amazon Buy Shipping. So Amazon offers a service where they will allow you to use shipping labels that they produce. Because Amazon's huge, they're getting really good deals on the shipping. That information will pass into Acumatica so that you can produce those labels on your FBM items. And then if a customer purchases, let's say, expedited shipping, that additional information is going to flow in and map to the appropriate ship vias inside the ERP. We already talked about the virtual warehouses that are being set up so you can reconcile your FBA inventory levels. And if a customer happens to choose some unique shipping service through Amazon, that information can be mapped to the appropriate fields inside of Acumatica for you to keep track. Now we'll go into more detail about the PII. That's the personal identifiable information related to buyers. I have a section about that we'll go into in a second. Amazon payments and fees are coming in. All of these orders are being associated with generic customers inside of the system. That's really to help protect customer data. And if desired, merchants can import tax information with all their orders and invoices. Some merchants we found decide not to do that. Most of them do. It's up to you. It's just a configuration setting inside the system.